In this video, we're going to take a look at the process of dividing fractions. I'm assuming you've already learned how to multiply fractions and reduce to lowest terms. If you haven't, make sure to check out the previous videos in this series or take a look at the textbook. Let's take a look at the following two examples. Find the quotient is what the directions will typically say. That's just math speak for divide. If you didn't know that, there's a division symbol between the fractions to remind you. This first example is 8 over 21 divided by 2/3. To divide these two fractions, I can actually just do the same thing I did for multiplication, which is do the operation going straight across. 8 divided by 2 will give me a 4, and then 21 divided by 3 will give me a 7. I do have to make sure that it's in lowest terms, which it is. It is as simple as that for this particular example. However, most examples are not going to be that simple. The reason being, in this case, I was able to divide the tops and bottoms and get a whole number, but most of the time that won't take place. All I have to do is change the question up a little bit, and you'll see. The second example, 8 over 25 divided by 2/3. Well, 8 divided by 2 will still give me a 4, but 25 divided by 3 is going to give me an awful decimal, and you never want to mix fractions and decimals together. So if I can't use the same method, and normally I won't be able to, what can I do? The most common method for dividing fractions, the one that will always work, is this. Even though two wrongs don't usually make a right, in this case they will. I'm going to do two opposites which cancel each other out. I'm going to do the opposite operation with the opposite fraction. So I'll do the opposite of divide, which is multiply, and I'll do it with the opposite of 2/3, which is 3/2. The way to think about this is that you're flipping the second fraction and then multiplying straight across. In general, when dividing fractions, flip the second fraction, then multiply. Flip, by the way, is in quotations because, obviously, that's not the technical term for it. The technical term is the multiplicative inverse. Ooh, there's a mouthful. A reciprocal. If you want to sound smart at a party, go ahead and drop those words. So I'm going to take my first fraction and write it down exactly as is. That 8 over 25 doesn't change. I'm going to change my division to a multiplication, and then my 2/3 flips. Most people understand what I mean by that, but if you're not sure what that means, I'm just exchanging the top and the bottom. So now it's going to be 3 over 2. Now you can multiply straight across, or if you're familiar with the cross-cancel method, you can do that. I see that there's some cross-canceling I can do with the 8 and the 2, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. 8 and 2 are both even. I can divide them both by 2. 8 divided by 2 will give me a 4, and 2 divided by 2 will give me a 1. And now I can go ahead and multiply straight across as before. 4 times 3 on top will give me 12, and 25 times 1 on the bottom will give me 25. That can't be reduced any further, so my final answer will be 12/25. To summarize, when dividing fractions, generally your process is going to be to flip the second fraction and then use the process that you would normally use for multiplication.